Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you the life you're living now isn't even close to what you're capable of? What if I told you that the version of yourself you've settled for is an insult to the fire inside you? You're not tired, you're just uninspired, you're not lost, you're just underchallenged, and you're not weak, you've just forgotten how strong you had to be to make it this far. Right now, in this room or wherever you're watching this, there's a part of you screaming to be awakened. A voice whispering, there's more for you. Push, don't stop here. So don't blink, don't scroll. Don't move until this ends, because if you truly want to become who you're meant to be, you need to push yourself like no one else ever has, and this could be the exact moment you stop making excuses and start becoming the person you were always meant to be. Everyone wants success, but not everyone wants discomfort. That's the problem, because the truth is, every version of your growth, every next level in your life comes wrapped in discomfort. And until you make peace with that, you'll stay stuck exactly where you are. Comfort feels good, it's warm, familiar, it tells you, this is enough, stay here, you've done okay. But okay is the enemy of exceptional. Okay is where dreams go to die quietly. The comfort zone is the most dangerous place you can live, because nothing grows there, and worse, nothing challenges you to become who you're supposed to be. Think about it. How many times have you known exactly what needed to be done but didn't do it because it was inconvenient, uncomfortable, unfamiliar? You knew the workout would hurt. You knew the business idea might fail. You knew the conversation might get awkward, so you stayed still. You did nothing. You told yourself it wasn't the right time, but it wasn't timing that was the problem. It was comfort. Comfort will lie to you. It will dress itself up as self-care, as patience, as waiting for the right moment. But what it's really doing is keeping you exactly where you are, living small, moving slow, playing safe. And the truth is, if you keep choosing comfort, your potential will rot inside you. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't sneak up on you in your sleep. It shows up in sweat, in hard decisions, in pushing through the moment you want to quit. It happens when you wake up before your excuses do. When you show up even when no one claps, when you commit not to what's easy but to what's necessary. You want to level up, then get ready to be uncomfortable. Get ready to feel awkward. Get ready to be tired. Get ready to fail publicly, painfully, repeatedly, because that's how it works. The people you admire, the ones who have built something from nothing, who have transformed their lives, they weren't born fearless. They weren't handed discipline or strength. They built it through struggle, through repetition, through walking straight into the discomfort you keep avoiding. The gym hurts. Learning something new feels humiliating. Starting over is scary, but every single time you choose challenge over comfort, you send a message to your brain, this is who I am now. Not someone who hides when it gets hard, but someone who grows. Someone who shows up. Someone who pushes. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than the version of you that's too afraid to stretch. That version is always trying to talk you into quitting early, into shrinking back, into giving up your calling for the illusion of peace. But let me tell you something, comfort isn't peace. It's quiet chaos. It's an invisible cage, and the longer you stay there, the more you forget who you were before you settled. Look back on your life. Your proudest moments, they weren't comfortable, were they? No. They were earned through grind, through late nights and early mornings, through falling down and refusing to stay there. That wasn't comfort, that was courage. So today, stop worshipping comfort like it's your friend. It's not. It's a thief dressed in kindness, and if you keep listening to it, it will steal your passion. Your potential, your purpose, what you want is on the other side of struggle. And if you're not willing to cross that line, you'll never touch what could have been yours. Push yourself, even when it's boring, even when it's painful, even when it seems like no progress is happening, because every day you fight through comfort is a day you rise above who you used to be. Every drop of sweat, every skipped shortcut, every uncomfortable step, it's proof you're building something real. And when you finally get to where you've always wanted to be, when you look back at what it took, you won't remember the nights you took it easy. You'll remember the nights you pushed through. That's where pride lies. That's where growth lies, and that's exactly where you need to start living. Everyone wants motivation. Everyone talks about being inspired, feeling driven, waiting for that moment when it all clicks. But here's the truth: motivation is unreliable. It's a spark, not a fire. It shows up when things feel good, when energy is high, when the path looks clear. But the moment life throws something heavy your way, and it always does, motivation disappears like smoke. And when it vanishes, most people stop. That's where discipline comes in, because discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. It's the quiet decision you make in the dark, when no one's cheering, when no one's clapping, when your body aches and your mind is screaming to quit. Discipline is what gets you out of bed when motivation hits snooze. Discipline is what opens the laptop, starts the workout, writes the next page, makes the next call even when there's no applause waiting at the end. People ask, how do I stay motivated? That's the wrong question. The question is, how do you train yourself to show up anyway? Because there will be days, more days than you expect, where you won't feel like it. You'll feel tired. You'll feel uninspired. You'll feel like it doesn't matter. And that's when most people stop. They think, I'm just not feeling it today, and they let that feeling make their decisions for them. But the people who grow, the people who succeed, they act through the feeling, not because of it. Motivation is emotion. Discipline is character. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Anyone can start something when it's exciting, when it's new, when it feels good. But not everyone can keep going when it gets hard. When it gets boring, when it stops being sexy and starts being serious. That's the difference between dabblers and masters, between people who dream and people who do. Every result you want is on the other side of repetition. Not once, not twice, but day after day, showing up and putting in the work, especially when it's inconvenient. You think champions are always excited to train, think they love the grind every single day. No, but they show up anyway, because the mission is bigger than the mood, because discipline says, I don't need to feel ready, I just need to begin. That's how you build self-respect. That's how confidence is forged, not by talking big, but by keeping promises to yourself when no one's watching. When you say you'll do it, and then do it again and again, you stop needing outside motivation. You become your own momentum. You become unstoppable, not because you're always inspired, but because you're always committed. Think about the strongest people you know mentally, physically, emotionally. Do you think they waited for motivation every morning? No, they built systems, they built habits. They made discipline part of who they are, so that no matter how the day felt, they knew what needed to be done and they did it. That's where real freedom comes from. Not from doing what you feel like, but from doing what's necessary, even when it hurts. That's the price of growth, and the reward is power over your mind, your choices, your future. So stop chasing motivation like it's the secret to success. It's not. Motivation may light the match, but only discipline keeps the flame alive, and some days that fire is all that's going to keep you moving forward. So protect it, feed it, and when it flickers, don't panic. Trust your discipline, trust the process, trust the version of you that refuses to let feelings define the finish line. In the end, it's simple. You can let your emotions drive you, or you can let your commitments define you. One path feels easier now, but costs you later. The other feels harder now, but makes you unstoppable later. Choose wisely. Because you will not rise to the level of your motivation. You will fall to the level of your discipline. Obstacles, challenges, setbacks, these are the things most people try to avoid. When they see a wall, they turn around. When something gets difficult, they pause, hesitate, and question everything. But what if the obstacle wasn't there to stop you? What if it was there to build you? What if the very thing you're trying to avoid is the exact thing that's meant to shape you into the person you're supposed to become? The truth is simple. Nothing that comes easy is worth remembering. Every story that inspires you, every hero you admire, every person who's made something out of nothing, they all faced obstacles. Not once, not twice, but constantly. And they didn't just survive those moments, they used them. They turned every wall into a stepping stone, every no into a reason to push harder, every failure into feedback. The problem is, too many people treat struggle like a signal to stop. They hit the first sign of resistance and take it personally, as if the world is telling them they're not good enough. But that's not what struggle means. Struggle is a test. It's the universe asking you, how bad do you want this? Anyone can move forward when everything is smooth. But what defines your character, your future, your legacy is what you do when the road gets rough. Obstacles are not blocks on your path. They are the path. Every time you go through pain, you come out with strength. Every time you overcome, you gain clarity. And every time you keep going when quitting seems easier, that's when you level up. That's when you prove to yourself that you're not just interested in your goal, you're committed to it. And commitment shows best under pressure. Think about the hardest moments you've ever faced, the heartbreak, the loss, the rejection, the failure. You didn't want those moments, but they came anyway, and you're still here, you're breathing, you learned, you adapted, you made it. Maybe you didn't even realize it in the moment, but those obstacles carved something into you: resilience, wisdom, grit. You became more through the pain, not in spite of it. See, most people don't lack potential, they lack perspective. They look at problems and say, why me? But the question should be, what is this teaching me? What skill is this building? What fear is this confronting? What strength is this unlocking? Every obstacle carries a lesson. And until you learn that lesson, the obstacle will keep showing up, just in different forms, different faces. There's no growth without resistance. Just like muscles only get stronger through tension and tearing, your mindset only gets sharper when it's tested. Comfort doesn't challenge you. Ease doesn't change you. But when life pushes you and you push back harder, that's when transformation happens. That's when the next version of you gets built, not through dreams or talk, but through action in adversity. The path to greatness is not a straight line. It's a jagged road filled with detours, delays, disappointments. But if you learn to see every detour as a new direction, every delay as a lesson in patience, and every disappointment as a setup for your comeback, you'll realize nothing is wasted. Every piece of the pain has a purpose, and it's building you, layer by layer, into someone who can handle the weight of success when it finally arrives. So stop fearing obstacles, start facing them, welcome them. Use them. The goal isn't to live a life without struggle. That's not possible. The goal is to rise above the struggle, to turn the pain into power, to turn the losses into learning, to let every setback strengthen your resolve instead of softening your spirit. Because the person who keeps moving, no matter what's in the way, is the one who will make it. Not because it was easy, but because they refused to let anything break them. They turned the obstacle into fuel, into focus, into fire. And if you do that, if you embrace the obstacle, if you learn from it, if you keep climbing instead of quitting, you won't just reach your goal. You'll become someone unstoppable on the way there. In a world where everyone is looking sideways, measuring themselves against someone else's success, someone else's body, someone else's life, it's easy to forget the truth. The only person you should ever be competing with is the person you were yesterday. That version of you, that's your rival, that's your standard, that's your measure. But we live in an age of endless comparisons. Social media scrolls become silent battles. You see someone doing more, living bigger, achieving faster, and suddenly your progress feels small. Your pace feels slow, your dreams feel foolish, but what you don't see is the truth behind their highlight reel. You don't see the failures, the doubts, the grind behind the scenes. You're comparing your behind, a curtain reality, to someone else's perfectly staged performance. And that's not a fair fight. The real fight, it's internal. It's between the disciplined version of you and the lazy one, the focused you and the distracted you, the brave you and the one still afraid. Every morning you wake up, you meet yourself, and the question is simple. Will you do better than you did yesterday? Will you take one step further, even if it's small, even if no one notices, even if no one cheers? That's what winning looks like. Quiet, personal, consistent progress. This is not about being the best in the world. It's about being the best for your world. You don't need to outrun anybody else. You just need to outrun the version of you that wants to stay comfortable, avoid challenge, and shrink from growth. That's your competition, and that version of you, it doesn't want to lose. It knows all your excuses. It speaks with your voice. It tries to convince you to slow down, to take it easy, to wait until you're ready. But if you keep listening to that voice, you'll live the same year over and over, calling it a life. True growth doesn't come from beating someone else. It comes from beating your own limitations. It comes from identifying your flaws, owning your weaknesses, and deciding every day to rise above them. It's about being honest with yourself, not harsh, not judgmental, but real. Where are you slipping? Where are you hiding? Where are you settling for good enough? When you know you can do more, it takes courage to look in the mirror and compete with the person staring back. To say, I can do better, and then actually do it, not just once, but consistently. It takes strength to not be distracted by someone else's timeline, because your journey is yours, and the timing of your progress isn't late, it's aligned with your path. Don't rush it because someone else got there first. Don't quit it because someone else made it look easy. Stay in your lane, stay on your grind, compete with you, because here's what happens when you do. You grow with integrity. You build confidence from within. You stop needing validation because you already know you're improving. You don't have to scream about it. You don't have to prove it to the world, but inside you'll feel the shift. You'll feel the pride that comes from being better, faster, smarter, stronger than you were last week, and nothing compares to that feeling. When you live this way, with internal competition, with relentless self-improvement, everything changes. You stop wasting energy on envy. You stop doubting your own lane. You start measuring success not by trophies or applause, but by whether you're still moving forward, still learning, still growing, still pushing. And the best part, when you compete with yourself and win, you don't create losers. You create a new you, someone wiser, tougher, more focused. Someone who doesn't just dream, but acts. Someone who doesn't just admire others, but builds themselves. That's power, that's purpose. That's the kind of progress that can't be taken away because you didn't get it from anyone else. You earned it, so stop looking around, start looking within. The race isn't out there. It's inside you, and every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Because when you make the decision to be better than who you were, you win. Greatness isn't a coincidence. It doesn't fall into your lap. It doesn't show up after a few good days of hard work. Greatness is earned painfully, obsessively, relentlessly. It's not for the casual or the curious. It's for the obsessed. The ones who don't just want it, they need it. They breathe it, they ache for it. It keeps them up at night and pulls them out of bed before the sun rises. That's what it takes. That level of focus, that fire in your gut. Without it, you're just another person with potential. There is a difference between interest and obsession. Interest gets you started. Obsession keeps you going when everything gets ugly. Interest is about excitement. Obsession is about endurance. Obsession doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't care what the world thinks. It isn't waiting for someone to understand it. Obsession moves in silence. It's personal. It's raw. It's the voice inside that says, I don't care how long it takes. I'm not stopping. You can't casually chase greatness. You can't dip your toes in and expect waves. You have to dive in headfirst with your whole heart. You have to be willing to sacrifice comfort, distractions, temporary pleasures, all for the sake of something bigger. And you have to do it every single day, especially when nobody's watching, especially when the world doubts you, especially when you feel like quitting, because that's when obsession speaks loudest. It tells you, this is who you are now. People will call you intense, too focused, too driven. Let them. That's the cost of standing out, the cost of doing what most people won't even attempt. They'll try to water you down, make you fit in, convince you to take it easy. Don't listen. Obsession isn't madness, it's clarity. You're not lost, you're locked in. You see what others can't. You're willing to go where others won't. Look at the greats in any field: sport, art, business, science. They didn't get there by accident. They weren't half interested. They were obsessed. They gave everything. They built routines around their purpose. They structured their lives to serve that one mission. Because that's what it takes. Not just talent, not just skill, but an unshakable drive that says, this is my life's work. Obsession makes you dangerous. It removes the backup plan. It silences the excuses. When you're obsessed, there is no plan B, only adjustments, only growth, only forward. You don't dabble, you dominate. You don't wait to feel ready, you make yourself ready. You're not in love with the idea of success. You're in love with the process of becoming great. And yes, it gets lonely. People won't always understand your grind. They won't see the vision. That's fine. It's not their vision, it's yours. Obsession doesn't need a crowd. It needs commitment. It needs late nights, early mornings, lost weekends, skipped parties, silence, sacrifice, discipline. But in the end, it gives you something no half-hearted effort ever could fulfillment. Not just achievement, not just status. Fulfillment, the kind that says, I gave everything I had to what I believed in. Because if you're not obsessed with your purpose, something else will steal your attention. Distractions will win. Comfort will seduce you. Doubt will overtake you. And one day you'll look back and realize you settled, that you could have gone further, that you had more in you. Don't let that happen. Choose obsession. Choose the fire, because greatness doesn't belong to the most talented, it belongs to the most relentless. So ask yourself, what's that one thing you're willing to suffer for? To bleed for, cry for, grind for, day in and day out, without recognition, without reward, just because you know it matters. That's your path. That's your obsession. And when you find it, don't let go. Build your life around it. Pour yourself into it. Make it your story, because the world doesn't remember the ones who are kind of good. It remembers the ones who went all in. And if you want to be one of them, it starts now, not with talent, not with applause, but with obsession. Everyone talks about the destination, the win, the trophy, the applause. But what if I told you that all of that, the external validation, the final result, it's not the real prize. The real reward is the journey. The grind, the hours no one sees, the quiet battles you fight when no one's watching. That's where you grow. That's where you become something greater than you ever imagined. And if you miss that, you miss everything. We've been trained to chase outcomes, to treat success like a finish line, but life doesn't work like that. You reach one peak and another appears. You hit one goal and suddenly you're hungry for more. It's a never-ending climb, and if you're only chasing the high of the destination, you're going to feel empty the moment you get there, because the goal was never the point who you became while chasing it was. That's what the journey gives you, the struggle, the setbacks, the long nights where you question if it's worth it, the small wins that no one claps for, the days you show up even when you don't feel like it. That's where the magic happens. That's where your character is built. That's where confidence is earned not by arriving, but by enduring. You see, the reward isn't the medal around your neck. It's the resilience in your heart. It's the discipline you forged through repetition. It's the mindset that got stronger every time life tried to break you. Those are the things you carry forward long after the crowd stops cheering. That's what no one can take from you. That's what lasts. People think joy is found in the victory, but the real joy is in the pursuit, in waking up every day and knowing you're moving, growing, becoming, in falling, failing, getting back up and realizing you're stronger than you were yesterday. That's where fulfillment lies, not in a destination you reach once, but in a lifestyle of purpose, progress, and passion. The journey humbles you, it tests you, it reveals your weaknesses not to break you, but to show you where to grow. It teaches patience, it teaches faith, because not everything comes when you want it. Sometimes the reward is delayed, sometimes the path takes longer than you expected, but if you trust the process and keep moving, you'll discover things within yourself that no shortcut could ever give you. We live in a world addicted to speed. Everyone wants overnight success, quick results, instant gratification. But greatness doesn't happen fast. Mastery doesn't happen in a weekend. Real growth is slow. It's uncomfortable, it's often invisible, but every step you take, no matter how small, compounds, and one day you look back and realize you've climbed a mountain not because of one big moment, but because of thousands of small ones strung together by grit. And when you finally reach that summit, yes, it feels good, but it won't be the medal or the moment that matters most. It'll be the memory of how you got there, the people you met, the lessons you learned, the inner battles you conquered, the pain you pushed through, the version of yourself you left behind so a stronger one could take their place. That's the real reward. That's the treasure nobody can hand you. You have to earn it. So stop waiting for one day to feel proud. Don't tie your happiness to a finish line. Celebrate the climb, embrace the path, because every step, every obstacle, every hour of effort, that is the reward. You don't need to wait until the end to feel fulfilled. You can feel it now in the pursuit, in the progress, in the fact that you're still standing, still striving, still becoming. In the end, the destination fades, but who you become on the journey that stays with you forever. Thanks for watching.